Through a year of national tour style racing, meaning top-notch events at top-notch racetracks in top-notch race cars, we have gotten down to one event to go through 9 total races across the virtual country here on the iRacing.com sim. We finally have made it to Kern Raceway, otherwise, well, Kevin Harvick's Kern Raceway as it's been renamed within the last couple of years since it was added to the iRacing.com sim back in the winter of 2023. Welcome to Pitstop TV and to the virtual Bakersfield, California. I'm Andrew Cardinale IV with nobody alongside this evening, and it's a pleasure to join you for coverage of the Sim Model Racing Association Impel Motorsports National Tour for the Nautical Marine Kern Winter Classic. Tonight's coverage is brought to you by Impel Motorsports, by Nautical Marine, and by Whiplash Sim Cams. As you can see in the B-roll behind the graphics on screen, Kern Raceway has a few different configurations and a couple of different racetracks that can be used. Not just the asphalt track, but also that dirt oval, with the mini dirt oval just a few hundred feet away or less. So we are on the asphalt track tonight. Of course, we've got super late models on tap, asphalt super late models for the Sim Model Racing Association on this big track. There you go. Now you can see it in that beautiful B-roll. Here it is on the track map. Kevin Harvick's Kern Raceway was Kern County Raceway Park for a number of years. Opened in 2013. It's got progressive banking starting at 12 degrees on the inside lane, and it gets progressively higher and higher up the further up you go. It's only been 12 years that this place has been open and running in the real world. Kevin Harvick's Kern Raceway only got started in 2013 as far as racing activity goes, but the construction of this racetrack goes all the way back to 2007. So it took a little while for the racetrack to be completed and actually get to opening status. Once it did so, it has become a beloved racetrack in a climate, I don't mean weather-wise, but in a climate that would otherwise be hostile to this racetrack. I've lived in California for many years myself. I now live in North Carolina. I can tell you racing is not that big. It's certainly oval racing anyways, not that big in California. I think it's getting bigger as time goes on for oval, or for road racing rather, especially Formula One, IndyCar, that kind of thing. But short track oval racing is just not a big thing in that part of California, especially, let alone the entire state of California. So in this kind of climate, I suppose, it's interesting how this racetrack has flourished and become a bigger and better thing as years have gone on. And we've got it here on iRacing.com. That said, we are settling a championship. Not much to settle, admittedly. Here's a look at the point standings coming into tonight. There's not a whole lot going on. And as I look down through the drivers that have entered tonight's race, it does seem we've only just received the entry from our champion-to-be. Alex McCullum did not make it into practice. Also, some very small typo. I put Kyle Turzak at negative 57. I checked later, and I don't know if I just misread it when I was making this graphic earlier today. He's actually at negative 55 to the race leader, points leader. It doesn't really change anything other than the battle with Josh Cottle and some others. But for the championship, it's settled. Alex McCullum will be the 2025 National Tour champion. Nothing is going to change there. So really, we're racing for second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, on down through the order in points tonight. A couple of great battles, certainly for fifth and for eighth. A couple of ties there as well as 15th. So those are spots to watch, those being the drivers of Tracy Petter and Joel Smith here tonight, as well as Josh Parrish and Matt Rolfe, and Mitch Drunowski and Trevor Edwards. Trevor Edwards actually will not be here tonight. He has allowed his iRacing membership to lapse, and so we shall shun him if he shows up in the chat here tonight. No, we love Trevor. Hope to see him back in the Super Series when we get going in January. So the stage is set. We have got drivers heading out to the racetrack now to set their qualifying times. You see some fast laps starting to roll in there at the top of the screen. So we'll get right down to it then. We'll get into the iRacing.com sim and start talking about some lap times. We have got everybody just about hitting the racetrack all at once. Cameron Hamilton, one of those drivers to do so far, the fastest of those drivers to do so. Spencer Dickinson also hitting the racetrack in car number 6. And he gets the outside wall, so that lap will not count. Pope 3rd, Dempster 4th, Tracy 5th, looking for more. And so these drivers get to start competing in a sense. Practice, that's out the window. Qualifying is where you make your first stand of the evening. Kyle Turzak rolls out onto the racetrack in his very Christmas-themed 15. Matt Rolfe up to third on the board in car number 0. And this is a short little qualifying session, just 5 minutes as per usual. So you've got to make it count. Matt Rolfe to the line will go slower lap 2. Chris Horton has gone faster and picks up into the 3rd position. Kyle Souza in the top 10 so far. Steven Oberstadt looking to move up. He is currently in the 13th spot as Steele Langford goes fastest. How about that from Steele? But this Steven Oberstadt machine is a really beautiful race car as Kyle Turzak will go fastest. And Turzak, I think, will already call it a run. Oberstadt will go 17th. Brian Tedeschi on the racetrack now. These laps click off quick. Tedeschi, car 29. He's on lap number 1 here. And to the stripe, it'll be a 17.265. Good for 8th place for Brian Tedeschi. Kieran Church goes 22nd, quick on lap 1. He'll be looking to improve on lap number 2. Nim Cross is out there on the racetrack. And it doesn't seem like many of these guys are improving on lap 2, so it's got to come on lap 1. That's where that heater is going to have to come from as Kendall Tucker hits the racetrack for Black Magic Performance. And look at that, Alex McCullum goes to the top with a 17.147. This is the next guy that might be able to knock him down, his teammate Jacob Harberts, and he calls it a lap there. He will abandon lap number 1 and go for lap number 2 instead. Here's Colin Allman. You know, Colin's got a pole here in the National Tour. Could he go for pole position tonight at Kern? It's not going to happen that lap. Maybe on lap number 2 for Colin. Never mind. He's in the outside wall. So it comes down really to Jacob Harberts. I keep wanting to call him Josh Harberts for some reason, but Jacob Harberts gets a run at the line. This will begin lap number 2 for car number 80. Kendall Tucker goes 9th. Can Alex McCullum be knocked down by one of his own? To the stripe, car number 80, it's quick, but is it quick enough? The answer is no. It's a 17.214, 5th place for Jacob Harberts. 30 cars have qualified. Tracy Petter, the only car that has not turned a lap time in this session. Unsure what's gone on for Tracy. He might not make it onto the racetrack tonight. We typically take 30 cars, and it's not like Matt can just make an allowance here. If it's not set to allow 31, and I don't think it is, then he may not start. So I wonder, Matt Rolfe, if you're listening, by all means correct me here. Typically the limit is 30, and Petter has just qualified 31st by not setting a lap. I'm not sure. The session might be set up to allow more than 30 cars. I'm not really sure, but qualifying is ending, so we'll find out in just a moment. While we get ready to go racing here this evening, there's a couple of things to talk about for sure. The race format is definitely a bit of a doozy, and I mean, we're getting right into it. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Whiplash SimCam's race details. This is a 250-lap race, but it's split into 3 segments, and you can see already the sim is saying heat number 1. All right, there are no heats. So this might be a little confusing to follow. I'm not really sure. This is kind of a brainchild of Matt Rolfe. He wants to bring a format from a race called the Milk Bowl and kind of bring it to life here in iRacing in one way or another. So this is running through a heat race session technically, and it's just transferring all drivers through the heat to the LCQ to the race. So it'll be done as 3 segments. Drivers will get a chance to reset tires, reset cars, get back on the lead lap, all that. Those segments will be 75, 75, and 100. So 75 to 150 to 250, with 25 car inverts in between. There are no tire change sets, no extra tires this evening. Cautions will count. This is an open setup race, of course, 2 green-white checkers if needed, and there is no fast fix, but effectively you get to anyways through this format. So This is a very unique way to do this. Hey, we've got a viewer from last night's show that recognizes the format. Look at that. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, this is a Milk Bowl style event. It's going to be interesting. We're going to have 5-minute intermissions in between segments. It's not, at least I've not seen this done before on iRacing in this style, so we're going to see how it goes. So bear with me throughout the night. We're going to test things out, I think. I think Matt's just trying to try a new format here as the season comes to a close. Also, it does look like Tracy Petter is going to be on the grid. That's good to note for car 79. That said, let's go down through the Lucky Performance starting grid. And on pole, Alex McCollum, car number 1, set for a championship here this evening, and he's going to roll off from the first position. Kyle Terzak will roll off to his outside. These two are the most recent winners here in the Impel Motorsports National Tour. Back in row 2, it's Riley Stenjum and Steele Langford. We put Steele Langford up against Spencer Dickinson on today's Who You Got post over on Facebook, and I think Steele is one to watch here today. Just might have to watch out for car 33 when we get down to lap 250. Jacob Harberts will roll off 5th, Cameron Hamilton 6th. 7th place will be Dallas Pataska, then Josh Cottle in the 8th position, and to complete your top 10, it's Spencer Dickinson and Kendall Tucker. So, before I go any further, actually, I just realized I forgot to mention a part about the format. So, I'll finish the grid, and then I'll get to it. But in 11th spot, Mitch Drunowski, Brian Tedeschi in row number 6. See the burnout there from Kyle Terzak. 13th, 14th, Chris Horton and Matt Rolfe. Back in 15th, how about Daniel Pope alongside Cody Dempster? And in 17th spot, it's Daryl Hamlin alongside Blake Thronberg. Row number 10, it's Eric Tracy and Colin Allman, the row of the 6-7s. Row number 11, Josh Parrish and Aaron Johnson alongside. Then back in 20, Souza and Sam Roush. Finally, Steven Oberstadt, Chris Shepard, Rick Rube, Nim Cross, Kieran Church, Josh Oswald, there we go, and Tracy Petter will make it into tonight's race. It does look like Josh Oswald is not gridding, so Petter might have taken his spot, and we are starting 30, it looks like. So back to the race details briefly. What I did forget to mention, this is not going to be a classic race just to lap 250, oh no. We are scoring these drivers, and so 27 Tat 272, let me know if this sounds familiar to the Milk Bowl. These drivers are being scored over each segment. So their placement in each segment will play into their actual score from the evening. The goal is to have the lowest score, just like in golf. So yeah, it's not just a straight up run to the checkered flag, but here we go. We are racing this evening. That green flag came a little sooner than I expected, but the drivers, they're on it. Green flag. Spinner, turn 2. We stay green for now. That was Daryl Hamlin around. One lap complete. Alex McCollum ahead of Kyle Terzak. These are the best sim drivers or best short track drivers on the sim, but they still make mistakes, and we saw that on lap 1. Hamilton around quick. Hamlin around quick, rather. Daryl Hamlin. Anyways, lap 2 now, lap 3, and there's the caution. Eric Tracy, problems. Aaron Johnson actually has got more problems. That car is not going to make it back. So already, Aaron Johnson's going to have a poor result here in segment number 1, and this is going to severely affect his day. Racing with Josh Parrish, Eric Tracy ahead. There's some smoke ahead. There's Colin Allman just ahead. And Tracy just got loose. Johnson went up to avoid and ran smack in the wall. Kyle Souza went up in the air. Sam Roush got a piece. That was just Johnson trying to be quick on the wheel and avoid, but made a disastrous mistake in going clear out to the outside wall and just could not get it turned back down in time. Oh my gosh. So already problems for driver number 78, see Kyle Souza in the pit lane as well. those drivers have definitely got things to work on. Souza has now gone 2 laps down. I think he's got some right front damage that maybe isn't quite being shown there. Yeah, there's a good bit for sure. Hopefully he's back on the racetrack before the end of this caution flag, though, as Alex McCullum leads us around. So again, this is not just a straight up be the first one across the line at lap 250. These guys have got to finish up front in each segment, and that's where the inverts come in as well. Is, you know, these guys are to be inverted big time throughout the field. The top 25 will invert between each segment, as I think we're choosing... No, we're not choosing this time. But imagine we'll choose the next time around. There you go. We've got a viewer who's familiar with the race format, and that's good. Starting out in the Contender Series, finding his way in SARA, maybe one day will be in these National Tour events that mimic races that you're used to across the country. So, you know, if we look back across the schedule for this season in the National Tour, we had some really great races, a lot like 2024, as the Chews actually happened in the background. We'll take a look at that briefly. It'll be McCullum outside, Terzak inside, then Stenjum outside, Langford down low. You see some more of the Chews, but back to that point about this schedule, we had South Boston, that's late model stocks, then straight to Supers at Slinger, back to late model stocks at Hampton, at Langley, back to Supers at Oxford, back to late model stocks at Martinsville, back to Supers at Nashville, then Supers again for the Fall Brawl at Five Flags, then late model stocks last time out at Southern National, back to Supers tonight at Kern. Green flag on the way, we're racing again in the Kern Winter Classic. Nautical Marine on board, but we are all dry here at Kern Raceway. From the fan cam, some unique perspectives around the racetrack. What it might be like here at the Kevin Harvick's Kern Raceway. Down low already. How about Kyle Terzak working on Alex McCullum for the race lead? You've got to be on it here in this kind of format. Each segment is counting towards your overall result tonight. And Terzak, fastest that lap, he is on it. On board, Kyle Terzak. These guys running custom open setups. So you can see they're in third gear, not fourth. It gives them that get up and go up out of the corner. Riley Stenjum, a good start to tonight's race. He is in third. Jacob Harbert's in that fourth spot. Steele Langford in fifth. Then the battle gets going on with Josh Cottle now ditching the candy apple red for some silver and black on that 13 car. He is just ahead there of Cam Hamilton and Kendall Tucker. As battles get going all throughout the field. Dallas Pataska, he works on the inside here of Brian Tedeschi. Then you've got Chris Horton, race winner from Nashville, back there alongside of Spencer Dickinson. And Daniel Pope is in that conversation as well. So this, for reference, is back for 12th position between the 42 and the 6. Horton down low, Spencer Dickinson up high. That's for 12th position. Then for 14th, just behind. So this is about halfway through the field. So with a 25-car invert, this is, 16th spot. It would invert to 10th position when these 75 laps are up. So wherever these guys finish in segment 1, it won't be a perfect mirror when they take the grid for segment 2, but it will be close. The back 5 cars will stay at the back. The rest will invert forward. But up front, Kyle Terzak is giving Alex McCullum a run for his money like we have simply not seen yet this year. Terzak was great at Southern National a couple of weeks ago, but I wouldn't say he won by default, but definitely helped to have Alex McCullum in a crash later on. I think Kyle could have won either way. But tonight, he's just straight up racing the one car. This is cool to see. Alex ahead. Kyle behind. And dare we say, these might be the top 2 drivers in top-level SARA racing currently. If there's a caution again, it's going to be Sam Roush and more on the back straightaway. Cars all over the place. Colin Allman involved again. I guess it was Eric Tracy the first time, but regardless, another 67 car involved. We'll go back and see what happened. Colin Allman was racing around Matt Rolfe, Cody Dempster, and Tracy Petter. Petter, of course, going from back to front. Just put a little BTA, as they say. That's unfortunate. Turned the 67 around. Chris Shepard got a big piece. So look at it here. Petter just barely gets an overlap and kind of dives. And I think race control, well, I think Matt's kind of doing this on a, gentleman's honor basis, but I don't know, if there was race control, I think that would go on the 79 car, and I think he may take blame for that, but that's at least the way I see it. Like Thronberg got a piece, Sam Roush got a big piece of that, Nim Cross able to avoid it. I will say one thing we've not yet checked out tonight is the Cody Williams design weather conditions. The race weather sitting at 78 degrees ambient, 91 track temp. Somewhat warm. I mean, it's not blistering or anything. It's not terribly hot. But it is, I think it's just warm enough, especially with the sun actually beating down on the racetrack and partly cloudy skies right now. I have not seen any cloud cover yet in the sim. It definitely is going to make it so these guys have to manage their tires over these 75 laps. But it's definitely not going to be the kind of tire race that we saw even last time at Southern National, where you've got to manage them over the course of, 100, 200 laps. They will, of course, still matter. Those are the four pieces of rubber making contact with asphalt, so that certainly is going to play into it, but it's not going to be quite as prevalent with these essential tire changes, basically, tire changes that they're getting with the segment changes. Here we go, restart zone coming up one more time. Alex McCullum on the outside. Kyle Turzak down low. Kern Raceway Park getting going again. Green flag. So you saw just how close they were down to turn number one. Alex McCullum, Kyle Turzak, oh so close. Turzak with the edge out of turn two. Alex grabs the wall. Jacob Harbert's going to fill the gap underneath. The 1 and the 80 are teammates. Those are both drivers over at Black Magic Performance. McCullum hangs to left, gets back underneath Kyle Turzak, and the battle rages on. Rolls reverse now. Rinse and repeat, though. Outside has the advantage. Inside tries to gain it. We're only a third of the way through the opening segment. And these two are swapping the lead big time. The advantage, though, has shifted now to car 15, while car 1 gets used to being on offense for a change. Single file now through most of the top 10. Cottle now dips to the inside of Harbert's. 3 wide, are we going to go? They sort it out. And Chris Horton gets down underneath Steele Langford back here for the 7th position. So Langford falling back a little bit as the leaders start to spread back out ever so slightly. What an incredible restart there for Kyle Turzak. I know it's still early on in this evening. We're only, not even 30 laps into a 250 lap race. But all things considered, that could be a pretty big moment in Kyle Turzak's day if he's able to go on and win this format tonight. I think it might come back down to that pass right there early on here in segment number 1 for Kyle Turzak to look back on and say, yep, that's what did it. There's a look at the field. Spread out. Starting to build some gaps between one another. Steele Langford looks to the inside of Cameron Hamilton. Rather, Riley Stengham. I just mixed that car up. Riley Stengham has surprised me lately. He has just been good. Whenever we unload these supers, he doesn't really run the late model stock races, but increasingly in these super late model national tour and super series races, Riley Stengham is just getting better and better. Certainly worth noting. And so we didn't see him, I don't think, in the late model stock back at SNMP, but come out here to the West Coast, bring the supers out for fun at Kern, and Riley's back on the racetrack in a big way. He's just behind Cameron Hamilton, though, who is in the top 5. And Hamilton is working now on the number 13 Trackside Threads Cottle chassis, Pontiac of Josh Cottle. I've always wanted to say Pontiac on a broadcast. I don't think I have before. If I have, it hasn't happened very frequently. I'm sure today has been a day of reminiscence for everyone. Of course, today was December 18th, 2025. An unfortunate big day in the NASCAR world. I'm not going to go too far down that rabbit hole. Of course, headlines are headlines. You can find them. But, boy, unfortunate day for sure. And I think a day of reminiscence and nostalgia for many. And I reminisce on the Pontiac being a make that we used to see in racing. And you know, on that note, we're seeing Dodge Charger bodies actually be released into the wild for pro late model racing, super late model racing, late model stock racing. That's cool to see. So maybe when we come back out here in 2026 for National Tour and Super Series races here in SARA, maybe we'll see some of those decals on these cars. A little blast of the past as we get some new Dodge bodies out there in the real world. Meanwhile, though, battle for 11th. Spencer Dickinson, Brian Tedeschi. Dickinson on the offensive. And he's a long shot, but you know what? In this kind of format, and maybe, I don't know this viewer's name, of course, but Tattoo, I'll say in the YouTube chat. Maybe Tattoo can kind of give their personal experiences watching the Milk Bowl from years past. I feel like this format opens up to have the possibility for somebody to kind of run 5th to 10th in each of the segments and end up winning the race overall, just by virtue of average finish position. And I do wonder if Spencer Dickinson or Steele Langford can pull something like that, and that's why I put them on today's Who You Got post, because this feels like a wild card format where if somebody runs just really well average running position and finishing position in each segment, but doesn't necessarily, you know, podium in either one of the segments, that they could potentially still win this race overall. And I think that's what's really, really special about this format. So this might not even be a day of Alex McCollum and Kyle Terzak, or Jacob Harberts, or Josh Cottle, or Cameron Hamilton, or anybody in the top 5. It might be somebody who finishes a little bit behind these guys, who ends up taking the cake later on, just by virtue of average finish position in each of these segments. And you know, Matt Rolfe has got a spreadsheet for us that I'll be able to take a look at and keep everybody, you know, up to date on that situation as far as average finish position. But for now, these guys are just trying to sort out segment number 1. We're about 30 laps from the end of it. Already some drifting back there from Mitch Drunowski off the corner that time. He was a little sideways, grabbing a handful of wheel. Another handful there off of turn number 4. This is the battle for 7th. It's Drunowski on the inside of Hamilton. The 10 car sliding back. And Drunowski's got the spot. And I will say, I thought about doing a best in show if we saw some Biffle paint schemes out there. I don't see any Greg Biffle paint schemes, but I do see a decal here on the side of Mitch Drunowski's car, and I'll keep this simple. I don't want to overplay it or anything. It is unfortunate today was a rough day in the racing community. Mitch Drunowski with the Greg Biffle 16 Forever decal there on the side. If we had a Best in Show contest, that would be a nomination there for sure. He's also working on moving forward in this race. He's up into 7th, working on 6th. That's still Langford out the windshield. He looks to the inside now of the posse driver into turn number 1. And he's got position on him for now. So as we come up to 2/3 way through this first segment of racing, Drunowski might have something here. Contact off the corner. Drunowski slips back just for a moment. That brings Hamilton back into it. And these two just cannot get separated right now. Steele Langford still on the outside, defending as hard as he can. Another car I see creeping into the picture is that blue and orange double aught. Kendall Tucker moving forward into the top 10. 9th position now. Kendall started back in 10th, so it's only 1 spot gained. But I feel like he was further back just in terms of actual asphalt on the racetrack and has actually climbed back up here. So worth noting there for car 00. But here that battle still rages, and they're starting to go at it for third. I'll keep my eyes on that. But this fight is getting spirited between Langford and Drunowski, and this is only, again, for the 6th position. As the sun sets on this wonderful National Tour season and the battle gets going for third, what do you know, I do want to give a big thank you to all of the partners this season in this Impel Motorsports National Tour, because without them, this season would not have been possible. That is always the case in these kinds of leagues and everything, but without them, this just simply would not be possible for us to broadcast these races on Thursdays throughout the year, even some Wednesday shows. It simply would not be possible without these partners. So Cody Williams Design, Crow Sim Shots, Impel Motorsports, Nautical Marine, Only Short Tracks, Privateer Race Products. Oh, hello! Josh Cottle into the side of Jacob Harberts. Josh just mismanaged that. Continue on from Privateer Race Products down through RJ Williams Management, SARA Templates, SimWrapMarket.com, The Association, Thronberg Construction, Trackside Threads, and Velocity Motorsports. And Nautical Marine here this evening as tonight's presenting partner. We wouldn't be here, especially for this event in particular. This event was added later on. So a big, big thank you to Nautical Marine for allowing us to be here this evening on December the 18th, racing at the virtual Kevin Harvick's Kern Raceway with a new kind of format, at least new to the SARA world. A big thank you to our partners as well. Whiplash Simcams, ATVO, CC's Business, Cody Williams Design, Lucky Performance, and the North American Racing League. But here we go for the top spot. It's getting active out there. 15 laps to go next time by. Alex McCullum dives back to the inside. He has sat in waiting, and he has chosen his time to strike. 15 laps to go. The 15 car under fire. They're coming up on lap cars. The time is now. There was contact there off of turn 2, but they kept it straight. I think McCullum's got him. It's not cleared yet. Give it another couple of sets of corners. I think Alex has got him in the bag. Absolutely. Fires off out of turn 2. Has got Kyle Terzak cleared. What a job there from Alex McCullum. And I theorized that passing the restart before might have been one that would go on to prove really, really beneficial for Kyle Turzak tonight. It may still be that way, but that pass back from Alex McCollum might be even more influential in tonight's overall results. Tracy Petter side by side with Brian Tedeschi. That pass is complete. Petter gets away. So Tracy Petter has gone from the 30th position, ultimately 31st on the grid technically, nearly to the top 10. 11th position now for Tracy Petter. That is impressive. That is really, really impressive. And you know what? As the night goes on, as we get the inverts and whatnot, that might be a car to watch. Simply for the fact that he's getting through traffic, he might be one to watch if he's getting through traffic this well. 10 laps to go, he can still make the top 10. Contact behind him, Dempster and Tedeschi get after it. I think this track is severely underused on iRacing. I hope others feel the same, because this has been some really cool racing tonight. This is like a... You know what? This is honestly everything that the Auto Club Speedway repave was supposed to be. Right? Half mile, high banks, D-shaped corner, or D-shaped front stretch, I should say. This is pretty much what the Auto Club Speedway short track was supposed to be, I feel like. I've just realized that. Pass being made here. Tracy Petter has got the position over Chris Horton. And Mitch Drunowski, oh, big contact with Josh Cottle. Cars to the inside. Stenjum went down and passed the 13 at least. Langford now works on Stenjum. That's worth a replay here. I'm not sure how that wasn't a caution. Hold the phone. Mitch Drunowski racing here with Kyle Turzak, Jacob Harberts, and Josh Cottle. Cottle gets loose and just catches the 14. Wow, look at him dive to the apron to miss that. They kept it green, and we are now down inside of 5 laps to go. Rick Rube is going a lap down. Thankfully, he'll get that lap back when we get back racing in segment number 2. You might have a battle here, though, for second spot. Turzak's car has gone away. Jacob Harberts is coming to life. And we'll be talking to each segment winner here tonight between segments. So we'll be talking to Alex McCollum in just a moment. I don't think, though, anything is going to change on that one car. However, I think there might be some swings taken at the 15. Because clearly he's got short run pace. But the long run pace just isn't there. So Alex McCollum, 2 laps to go here in segment number 1 of this Kern Winter Classic. There's some lap traffic ahead, but really no reason to worry. He's got plenty of space out the rear view as we take the white flag for the first time tonight, brought to you by Whiplash Sim Cams. Alex McCollum, right behind Sam Roush, will come out of turn number 4 and win segment number 1 of the Nautical Marine Kern Winter Classic. Here they all go across the line. Segment number 1 is a wrap. Alex McCollum, Kyle Turzak, Jacob Harberts, Mitch Drunowski, Riley Stenjum, the top 5. Langford, Cottle, Hamilton, Tucker, and Petter. The rest of your top 10 there is stage winner, effectively, Alex McCollum. And it will take us into now the next portion of tonight's race. So this is going to run technically as an LCQ. The 25 car invert, by the way, is going to put Eric Tracy on pole for this next segment. These guys have 5 minutes. It's not a warm-up. Couldn't do a warm-up between the sessions, but at 5 minutes to grid. So they have 5 minutes to make adjustments to the car and go at it for segment number 2. Let's go ahead and dial up Alex McCullum, who wins segment number 1. And, you know, in Whiplash SimCam's race details, and through those whole 75 laps, Alex, I'm trying to make sense of this format and explain it the best I can to these viewers. I gotta ask, you've just won the first segment tonight, but do you have a full understanding? Do you kind of get the vibe here? I think we've got it down, but what's it like from a driver standpoint?
It's obviously a change up, which I kind of like. It kind of strategize a little bit of everything. So, if you're similar with like Supercross, it's kind of like a triple crown. So, it's gonna take your best averages. So, say I go 1-1-1, I have 3 points, get the overall. But if I go like 1-3-5, then it'll add up and then it'll mix it up. So, it creates for a cool little event with the little triple crown I call it. So it makes it changes it up because you got to go. Now I think I restart 20th here. So now instead of starting up front, I got to work through traffic and be smart. And I think it'll make a fun night.
I think that's a good way to look at it. And you've got definitely the jump on everybody here. We have 5 minutes to kind of decompress, probably 4 minutes now. But you were able to wrestle that top spot back away from Kyle Terzak. It seemed like, though, you had the better long-run car. Are you going to change anything between this segment and next?
Yeah, I'm actually going to change. I'm looking at it now. I think I'm going to change a little bit of bunch of stuff here. I wasn't too happy with how the car was handling throughout the run. So, we're going to try some things and see if we can get to the front pretty quick.
And, of course, you know, I'd imagine a good setup is a good setup. But you guys do, I'd imagine, also make some adjustments, maybe be a little more aggressive with certain things, you know, for a short race versus a longer race. So, I mean, we're used to national tour races, you know, 200, 300 laps. Tonight, really the longest race, if you will, is only 100. Does that change the approach to the setup?
Not necessarily. I mean, kind of just have to fine tune it throughout the night and see what works and doesn't. So, we're just going to try a few things during these 3 races and see if we can find anything. If we do, great. If not, then we know for next time.
And I believe just taking the green flag tonight, just being in the session, I believe, gave you tonight's, or this season's championship. I think you already had it, but I guess the official championship will go to driver number 1. That's you, of course, Alex McCullum. How does that feel? Of course, this has been a year of kind of triumph over here in the national tour and kind of wondering what you need to do right in the Super Series, I feel like. But clearly things are clicking right when you're switching cars between the Super Late Model and the Late Model stock. So how does it feel to get the championship here and try to carry this into 2026 and the Super Series?
Yeah, it makes my night a whole lot easier knowing I locked it up coming into tonight. I was talking to Matt a little bit. I got stuck at work, and I actually got home at, I think it was 8:58, and my first ever qualifying lap was in qualifying, and Jacob said we had a pretty good qualifying piece, and we put a P1, so we were pretty happy about that with no laps of practice. So we're just going to do our thing tonight and see how it goes.
Well, we'll let you get down and make whatever changes you need to the race car and chat with Jacob and whatnot. But congratulations so far, making it this far. Now go and try to talk to us again here in 75 more laps.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Alex McCullum, stage 1 winner, if you will, or segment 1 winner, I suppose, here in the Nautical Marine Kern Winter Classic. This is still a very interesting format to me. I like it. I think it's got some potential. Maybe even just on a smaller scale, you know, 2 segments instead of 3. But we're going to see how tonight goes, and I think Matt Rolfe has got some really cool ideas with this Sim Auto Racing Association moving forward. Speaking of, we can take a look at what's upcoming for us here at Pit Stop TV, and you do see the back half of the 2025-2026 schedule coming up for the Sim Auto Racing Association Pierce Fleet Service Super Series. That'll kick back off on January the 8th, but in between now and then, there's not a whole lot going on. We are, of course, open to broadcasts, but go ahead and just shoot us a message or whatever across social media. But the next scheduled broadcast is not until 2026. That would be January the 6th with the BRB Sundance Pro Series heading out to Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Then 2 days later, Thursday, January 3rd, we kick off a new season of racing with the North American Racing League at Red Bull Ring, and then we continue on the same night, actually, with the SARA Super Series at Lanier. We are heading right into the next session of racing. Eric Tracy is going to lead us off here. Let's go down through the Lucky Performance starting grid for segment number 2. Eric Tracy on pole. He finished 25th. He gets the benefit of the invert. Daryl Hamlin will come to the green second place. Nim Cross will start this segment from 3rd. Then it's Steven Oberstadt from 4th. Back in 5th spot, Daniel Pope has sunk. He's now got a chance to stay afloat maybe at the front of the field. How about that for some nautical marine punnage as Chris Shepard rolls off 6th. Dallas Pataska 7th, Blake Thronberg 8th, and to complete your top 10, Josh Parrish and Colin Ullman. Back in 11th, it's Matt Rolfe. 12th, Brian Tedeschi. 13th and 14th, Spencer Dickinson and Cody Dempster. Then Chris Horton, Tracy Petter, Kendall Tucker, Cameron Hamilton, Josh Cottle, and Steele Link for your top 20. A few more spots the rest of the way down through these 30, as there's a blink for the race leader. Riley Stenjum, Mitch Drunowski, Jacob Harberts, Kyle Turzak, and Alex McCullum. They invert to the rear, and the car is already at the rear. Rick Rube, Kieran Church, Kyle Souza, Aaron Johnson, they all stay back there. Green flag. Spinning already as Jacob Harbert's caution is out. You see everybody kind of ditch out a line and start to slow down. Oh boy, this is certainly the trouble. And I think the allure even to this kind of format. Jacob Harbert's was sensational there in segment number 1. Ran 3rd just by the entire segment. Comes out here in segment number 2 and already has some trouble. So this is a problem for sure for car number 80. This was the green flag right behind Stenjum, ahead of McCollum, down to turn 1. They checked up and it was Harbert's own teammate McCollum who got into him. Here's the onboard. They all just checked up, and there wasn't enough time for Alex McCollum to react there. So I will be able to verbally kind of walk everybody through what the situation is with the score for these drivers. There isn't a whole lot to talk about. It's only been one segment, but as we get into segment 3 in 72 more laps, we're going to have a clearer picture, I think, for those final 100 of what these drivers truly need to do in this race and kind of how they rank. But for right now, I will say if you're looking for an updated total as they run, we don't have that technology worked out just yet. I think if we were to have more races with this kind of format, we could probably work on something. But this is kind of a try it out, see how it goes this evening as Jacob Harberts works down the pit lane. And I'd imagine we'll come in for some service to the front end of that race car. And I believe we're going to choose this time as Eric Tracy runs along the bottom of the racetrack. It looks like he's going to be choosing the very bottom, which is interesting. I feel like the top could be just as good, but I feel like I recall McCollum choosing the outside earlier when he was in the lead. Regardless, Eric Tracy will choose the bottom of the racetrack here for the first restart of segment number 2. He will come back to the green ahead of Daryl Hamlin, Chris Shepard, Steven Oberstadt, Daniel Pope, and others. Let's watch this restart from the fan cam here at Kevin Harvick's Kern Raceway. Green flag on the way, restart zone there. We're racing again as Eric Tracy gets a massive launch to turn number 1, and we are crashing. Oh my goodness. What has happened here? Nim Cross. I don't know if he was at the start of all of this, but we have wadded up at least 10, 15 race cars down here in turn 1. Dallas Pataska's not going anywhere. Chris Horton's torn up. Nim Cross with a bunch of damage. not sure yet if Jacob Harbert's actually got through it, but the car looks okay. Oh boy, this was a big one down in turn 1. What happened at the front of the field? And it seems like it started maybe with Colin Allman. But Colin Allman, that's the red and white 67 back. I guess they're both red and white, but the 67 that's lower, and there was just a missed shift or maybe a missed restart. I'm not entirely sure. Just a bad restart in general. Chain reaction, drivers piling into each other. I mean, it's the go zone. I mean, everybody's hitting the gas. There's really no expectation of that. Let's watch the slow-mo here. Does Hamlin just didn't go. That checked up Oberstadt. And then Nimcross gets down into Eric Tracy, then gets into Josh Parrish. Parrish takes a massive hit. Chris Horton ping-pongs. Kendall Tucker with a bunch of big hits. Oh my goodness. Terzak even got a piece. You know who might end up getting today's early Lucky Performance, Lucky Break of the Day is Alex McCullum. Watch this. He's going to get through about half the field here. He does get into Stenjum there briefly, but the rest of the way through, they all crash, and by the time he's there, he just kind of gets through it. One more look. Let's go high above. And just watch this down into the corner. I don't even want to say anybody did anything particularly wrong. I think there's maybe things that could have been done to avoid that. That's just a really unfortunate situation for everybody involved. And just like that, we go back green. I missed the timing slightly, but thankfully this was a much cleaner restart. And oh my goodness, we're crashing again. Brian Tedeschi, the 29 car. Turn number 4. So Tedeschi on the restart. Ahead here of Spencer Dickinson, racing with Steven Oberstadt, and Dickinson just got into the left rear there of Tedeschi. That sends Tedeschi up into Dempster, Rolf, and Stenjum. I mean, simply put, Spencer just hit that guy. Eric Tracy, or rather, Brian Tedeschi now in the pit lane. Eric Tracy still leading. Josh Parrish also in the pit lane taking repairs. Riley Stenjum also in the pit lane taking repairs here. Dallas Pataska has already called it a segment. There go those cars out of the pit lane, though, the 3 that did pit and want to continue racing anyways, as here comes the field down to turn 1. That was at least a cleaner restart that time, but they didn't go too much farther, as Spencer Dickinson was the one kind of in command there that got into Brian Tedeschi. But, you know, I go back to the Who You Got post that we put out on Facebook earlier today, and Dickinson is one of the 2 drivers we kind of put up against the field. So Dickinson is one, Langford is the other. They're only a few spots apart right now. Dickinson in 7th, Langford in 10th. And Dickinson is going to the rear. So he has taken fault there. If I can try to select him, there we go. So Spencer Dickinson will go to the rear of the field, but until then, I feel like either one of those guys still could have been in contention. I think it's definitely a tall order now for Spencer, but maybe. Here we go, green flag again on the way. Never mind, the iRacing.com safety car has had to stay out for another lap. 60 to go here in segment number 2, though. And again, we can look at what's upcoming. We have got a lot of great racing coming up. When 2026 unloads, we're going to have, you know, the ARCA series continuing with the BRB Sundance Pro Series. ARCA cars, Las Vegas. They had a great race at California the other night. So that's going to be hitting the ground running. We have GT3s hitting the racetrack with the North American Racing League. Super late models still on Thursdays, and we're going to be doubling up on Thursdays between NARL, GT3, and SARA Super Series. Back into the restart zone. Green flag again. Eric Tracy leads us back to the green. 60, now 59 to go here in stage number 2. Uh-oh, that blinking for Eric Tracy is not good. These guys trying to avoid him as they dip down to turn number 1. Chris Shepard trying to get by. He's got the nose ahead. And Chris Shepard is at the lead of the SARA Impel National Tour. Bobbles a little bit there in turns 3 and 4, but this is cool. We're getting some different players at the front now thanks to this mid-race invert. And Shepard leads and goes fastest there for a moment. Aaron Johnson now goes faster as Josh Cottle is just ahead of these guys. Something happened between Cottle, Dickinson, and Horton, I think. Here comes Blake Thronberg on Eric Tracy. Thronberg fastest on the racetrack that lap. Well, let's go back and see what happened to Josh Cottle, maybe. This is the restart. You see here, he's with the field. But something that happened to Chris Horton. Rick Rube is checking up. Horton gets tapped. Oh my goodness, this is back of the field. No caution for this. And that's how Josh Cottle gets a bunch of damage. He was turned around. Dickinson was stopped. I can't believe there wasn't a caution. And now we've got problems with Eric Tracy. And look back now. Matt Rolfe got out of line, then Tracy just missed turn 3. He's gone backwards. Oh my goodness. Earl Hamlin now is headed the wrong direction. He gets in line though. This is now live picture. We're back up live. Chris Shepard leading, Blake Thronberg second. Boy, I don't know what's going on. I will say, as far as the drivers going from the back of the invert back to the front, Kyle Turzak is doing the best of it. He has made his way into 7th here. McCollum in 9th. Contact though. Turzak puts Petter in the wall. And it's big crash out of turn 1. Tracy Petter and so many more. And that is all going to come back on the 15 car of Kyle Turzak. We saw it live. Tracy Petter has got to be animated over the radio. You know, we had a moment at Southern National where Alex McCollum kind of put somebody in the wall. And here, I mean, Turzak just drove Tracy into the concrete. Obviously, it's not intentional. It's just racing, but man, he really took him for a ride there. Roush, Johnson, Rolfe, I think, bear the greatest brunt of this. Trying to find the view for Sam Roush. Here it is. Man, they just stopped in an instant. And suddenly everything has gone terribly, terribly wrong. So this is going to send several cars down to the pit lane. Mitch Drunowski, one of them. I don't know who's going to get back on the racetrack out of this. Josh Cottle is going to give it a shot. along with Brian Tedeschi. Stensham just kind of accepts the speeding penalty to at least make it out in front of the pace car. Dickinson pits, gets back out, but Drunowski will stay in the pit lane. Aaron Johnson's down there. Tracy Petter is trying to make his way back through the field. I just saw Kieran Church on the pit lane. Dallas Pataska's still down there. Colin Allman now in the pits. And Sam Roush. Boy, that car is wadded up. So everything's been kind of reset. It's Chris Shepard out front with Blake Thronberg in second. Daniel Pope. Cam Hamilton. Alex McCullum, he's already back to 7th. He's working on that total for the day. Green flag back on the way. Here we go. Down the back straightaway, turn number 3. Blake Thronberg has got the lead, wrestled away from Chris Shepard. And he is not going to look back. It's been a little while since I've seen Blake Thronberg confidently straight up lead one of these races. It's good to see. Blake has had some bad luck for a while. So position gain for car 22, and now a couple of laps led for him as well. Battle right behind, though, 4th place. Oh, man, look at that. 3 wide for a moment. Steele Langford in the midst of it. Cody Dempster. I wouldn't call him a West Coaster from Colorado, but he's the west half of the country. So this is probably somewhere he's run before. Side by side, Cody Dempster in that 24 car, still Langford at 33, and look at McCullum pushing his way through. He knows he's got to keep going forward. I don't know how much, oh, he gets in the wall. I don't know how much contest he's actually going to have with this segment as of now, but Dempster free. Oh, Kendall Tucker, hang on. Alex is definitely looking to be the driver to beat once again. He, of course, finished first in segment 1. Second was Terzak. Third was Harberts. Harberts is somewhat close. He's back in 9th. So he might be able to get closer to Alex, but I don't know. With 40 to go, it's still maybe a little bit too early to really say. A little bit too early, I think. But Blake Thronberg leading. Chris Shepard under fire. Daniel Pope would like that second spot. Contact maybe. They lean on one another. About halfway here through segment number 2. Side-by-side battle on your screen for second place. And for 4th, there's the caution. Steven Oberstadt, the number 3. Oh, man. And his run has just about come to an end. He'll, of course, be able to reset the car and get back out there in segment 3, but segment 2, I think, is going to be a wash. That left front is angry and does not look good, does not sound good, is not good to be inside of that 3 car currently, as he's going to wrestle it. Or try to wrestle it down to the pit lane. He's not going to succeed, and he's going to tow. Driver out of South Carolina here is taken out. Oh my goodness, wow. What in the heck just happened there? That was Kyle Terzak on the inside. He just gets up into Darrell Hamlin, and Terzak gets turned up, and wow. I mean, wow. That's Terzak done, I feel like, in the competitive sense. Unless McCullum is taken out on this next restart, I don't see how you can compete. Here's Terzak's point of view. I mean, he just flat messed up. I think that's the best way to put it. He just messed up, got into Daryl here off the corner. But this is a crazy impact for the 3. Oh my gosh. So the choose coming up is going to dictate the next restart, of course. Blake Thronberg goes back low. Chris Shepard stays up high. You see several cars in the pit lane. The field is definitely thinning. I mean, we've got 8 cars right now, 9 cars, I think, in the pits. There goes Allman back on the racetrack. Hamlin is officially now 4 laps down. We have got 8 cars parked, just not moving and going laps down. Hamlin's 4 down. Terzak's 4 down. Oberstad is 4 down. Grunowski's 15 down, and here we go. Restart on the way. Green flag is back out. Not a great restart for Shepard. But we're racing once again, and it's already top 3 for Alex McCullum. Caution again. Nim Cross back in trouble. That's the 07 car from iRacing HQ. Oh boy, it's another big one. He's going to end up involved in it. Wow. We were watching the leaders, and Cody Dempster was on a wheelie contest. I think that was Dempster up in the air. Dempster runs up the right, or left rear rather, of Shepard. Backs out of it. Rolf gets tagged by Dickinson, and you see what happens behind. I promise, this is an oddity for these drivers. I can tell you, I have not seen this many crashes out of this bunch in a while. We had what? 1 or 2 cautions at Southern National? None at Five Flags, 3 at Nashville. I mean, single digits in the last 3 of these races. Tonight has been something else. Josh Cottle heavily involved in this. Here's his perspective. Down through the inside. Ended up in the back there of Nim Cross for just a moment. Blake Thronberg continues to lead. Boy, this has completely unraveled things. But you know who it's playing into the favor of? Go figure. Alex McCullum. Started pretty well in the back of this segment, 25th at the green, and is 3rd. So here we go, restart coming up. It's been a crazy second segment here at Kern. But Blake Thronberg going to bring us back to the restart. Daniel Pope second, Alex McCullum third, then it's Jacob Harberts. Green flag back in the air at Kern. The field has thinned significantly as we are 2/3 of the way through this segment. And Alex McCullum now puts chase to his Blackmagic Performance teammate in Blake Thronberg. Oh, they're both out of the gas. Thronberg got loose. McCullum had to check up. That was a moment. Now Alex looks low. And we've got side by side for the lead once again. Smoke ahead. I'm not sure if somebody in the pits blew up or what, but Alex McCullum has taken back over here. Lap 53 now of segment number 2, and McCullum is back in charge. Check up behind as Pope gets down to the inside of Thronberg. Harberts fills the gap there in 4th. Battle for second. Car 22, car number 11. Into the 22. What a save, though, out of Daniel Pope. That was some quick thinking car control. That was good stuff out of Daniel Pope. Former pro driver to hang on to that number 11. And yeah, this is definitely a faster racetrack. You see the speeds up to about, 130 miles per hour before Daniel lets off for the corner. I would imagine they're going even faster when the tires are a little bit newer. And the fuel is a little bit lighter. Turn 1 here, let's see, back to, 130. I mean, 130 even into turn number 3. Still Langford into the outside wall, racing with Kyle Souza. How about Kyle Souza, top 10 right now? 7th, right behind Riley Stenjum. I know this has been a segment of crashes, and some really significant drivers are in the pit lane right now, but for Kyle Souza to be up here in this 7th spot, I think is pretty darn cool. He had to survive, had to be in the right places at the right times to make it this far in this race and be in this kind of position. And he's still ahead of some really good drivers in Steele Langford, Kendall Tucker, Brian Tedeschi, all right behind him. Battle now with Cameron Hamilton and Riley Stenjum. You know what we haven't looked at yet? I've been waiting for the right time to do this. And I think now might be that right time for Alex McCullum. We have got updated power rankings that we have not yet looked at this evening, and I'll go ahead and bring them up now. The number right there for driver number 1, I think, says a whole lot about how this national tour has gone. In addition to the point standings that we looked at earlier, this is a score out of 100, more or less, based on driver stats, results, a little bit of outside influence to boost some ratings, but not by a whole lot. Realistically, Alex McCullum has at least 75 of this 78 just on his own results and merit. And that's out of 100. And he has had some recent competition in the form of Kyle Terzak, but it has been all Alex McCullum lately, out front in these races. Turzak was, I think, kind of an oddity last time out at Southern National. He's been getting good. Don't let me, misconstrue anything. Turzak has gotten a lot better. Tonight definitely is kind of a stain on that so far. At least this segment. He still has segment 3 to go out there and run better. But point being, it's been 2 drivers at the front. Jacob Harberts, Josh Cottle, still Langford kind of right behind. Cam Hamilton and Tracy Petter there as well. And then you can see Joel Smith got up into the top 10 recently. He's not here tonight. But Joel's been getting better. Spencer Dickinson still in the top 10 in power rankings. And Matt Rolfe even in the top 10. I think one thing worth noting, of course, with this ranking graphic, is the score is wildly different from 1st to 10th. It has been a really wacky set of races lately. Some drivers are doing really, really well. Some drivers are not doing well at all. And therefore, the gap from 1st to 10th has grown. Because there's just a lot of parity from 5th on back. There's the top few, but then everybody else is just a mixed bag of emotions week to week. Kyle Souza racing here with Cameron Hamilton. This is for 5th. Hamilton gets the edge for now. 6 laps to go here in segment number 2. Riley Stenjum just behind. Where is he going to go? Oh, Souza in the wall. And there you go. Stenjum goes down to the inside now. Laps are clicking off for these drivers, getting closer and closer to the end here of segment number 2. It was a crash-filled beginning, but it has since gotten a whole lot better. And look at this race info. You can see 6 cautions for 25 laps. Otherwise, an entire third of this segment alone under caution. Segment 1 was not quite like that. I doubt segment 3 will be quite like that. These drivers know what's at stake. They know there's penalties to be handed if they don't rein it in. For 5th position, Souza, Hamilton, Stenjum. And right now, by the way, per the invert, if it counts drivers that are lapped, Steven Oberstadt is in position to take pole for segment number 3. So we'll see if that is going to stand. He's 25th right now. And to the stripe, it will be Alex McCullum with the segment win. Thornburg, Harbert's right behind his teammates, right with him. Daniel Pope, Kyle Souza gets 5th, and Cameron Hamilton, Riley Stenjum, Steele Langford, Kendall Tucker, and Chris Shepard grabs himself a segment top 10. 11th goes to Dickinson, then Tedeschi, Parrish, Cottle, and Church. Matt Rolfe goes 16th, Rick Rube 17th, Eric Tracy, Tracy Petter, and Nim Cross, the remainder of the top 20. So it all kind of dies down now between segments 2 and 3. And we will check back in with our segment winner. They've actually, okay. This is actually okay. This will work out. So instead of McCullum, we're getting the driver that came in behind him, McCullum's teammate, Blake Thronberg. So Blake, I made a comment during that segment when you were up there leading that we've not really seen you in that kind of position in a little while to actually take control of the race. It's been a lot of bad luck lately. How does it feel to get that bad luck out of the way, even for just a moment, lead some laps, and finish well in that segment?
Yeah, man, it was a relief. I work put in. Of course, Alex and Jacob, Dante, and all them guys put in a lot of work for these setups, and it's finally good to run up front. Of course, it was funny. We were in Discord, and Alex got up 3rd, and I was like, man, I thought I had a chance. And then, like you said, it didn't take long for him to get out front and pull away with it. But yeah, that was a good time right there.
And of course, we've talked pretty commonly to Alex over the last few months. We even spoke a little bit with Jacob Harberts at one point in time. I don't think we've spoken to Dante yet, and we haven't talked to you yet, if I get the words out, about this new Black Magic Performance deal. So what's it like bringing in Alex to the fold? I think back in at this point, and getting him back to work on the setups and whatnot. What's it like bringing him back in?
Man, it's a game changer. Like I said, it was me and Jacob and Dante for the first little bit, and then Jacob texted me one day and said, "Hey, Alex is joining the team," and I was, anytime you can get the best guy on the sim out here, join your team, that's, always a plus. And then, like you said, so having the 1-2, it makes the job like us, like me, to, drive the car a lot easier.
And of course, we've got 100 laps coming up, a pretty long ways still to go in this race. You're going to be sent packing to the rear, 24th spot when we go back green. Obviously, Alex could do it because he got back through, but he had the aid of some crashes. So as we get going here in the second or third segment now, what's the game plan for you personally, not just Black Magic, but you personally in the race car to get back to the front?
I feel like I can just follow Alex right here. Him and Jacob are really fast, and like you said, they've been doing this for a while. So hopefully I'm just going to follow behind them and follow them to the front.
So Blake Thronberg finally getting a word of us. It's been a little while, like I said, that we since we talked to you, since we've seen you out front. So hopefully you can continue this on. But good to talk to you once again, Blake, and hopefully we're talking to you in 100 more.
Yeah, man, appreciate it. Thank you for everything you do right here.
Absolutely. Blake Thronberg, a solid position there in segment number 3. And we are getting set to go racing once again. 100 laps on tap. You see cars are making their way to the grid. I don't know how long the grid is going to run for. But I can tell you, looking at the points so far in the sheet, so Matt has done us a favor. He has sorted the sheet by score so far, it looks like. Yes, he has. So Alex McCullum is, of course, leading. He's got a score right now of 2. Jacob Harbert's a score of 6. He is second. Sitting in third, we've got Riley Stenjum at 12. Fourth place is actually a tie between Cameron Hamilton and Steele Langford. They have a score of 14 each. Kendall Tucker a score of 18. Blake Thronberg a score of 20. Those are your top 7 positions, and it's spread from 2 to 20. Kyle Turzak has a score of 25. He is down in the 11th spot so far, tied though with 10th with Daniel Pope. So I would imagine that Turzak would get the benefit, or I guess the tiebreaker, since he had the better finish in segment 1 of 2nd versus Pope's 4th in segment 2. So technically, I think Turzak would be 10th. There's another tie deeper in the field. Chris Shepard, Josh Parrish, Mitch Drunowski all have 30. Of those, Mitch Drunowski has the best finish of 4th back in segment 1. And then it kind of tapers off. There is a tie with Eric Tracy, Kieran Church, and Nim Cross, but they're much deeper in the field, so I'll spare you the specifics there. We are going to have just a moment here, so I want to thank all of our partners once again with the series. Of course, the Sim Model Racing Association, brought to you by so many partners week in, week out. This evening, a special focus certainly put on Nautical Marine, but also Cody Williams Design, Crow Sim Shots, Impel Motorsports, Nautical Marine once again, Only Short Tracks, Privateer Race Products, RJ Williams Management, SARA Templates, SimRepMarket.com, the Association, Thronberg Construction, Trackside Threads, and Velocity Motorsports. More cars are gridding up. It doesn't tell me in the sim exactly how much time we've got. So let's take a look at weather conditions It doesn't tell me in race or in timing and scoring either, but 76.7 degrees in the air, 80 degrees on track. That track temp has come down significantly. I think the drivers will be happy about that. As we get closer and closer to going racing here this evening. There you see, a lot more cars have gridded up at this point in time. We're about to get going, I think. Once again, the Super Series back in action at Caffeine and Octane Linear Raceway, January the 8th. That's the next points race for the Sim Auto Racing Association. And it'll be a lot of these same drivers in the Super Series. And if we look at their schedule, the Super Series schedule, boy, it's rather interesting. Mystery nights all throughout, but here we go. Rolling back off the grid for segment number 3. Let's go down through your Lucky Performance starting grid. Darrell Hamlin and Steven Oberstadt of the front row. Hamlin, I'm surprised he was put up there. Oberstadt, I think, is going to the rear. I'm not entirely sure why. But it's Kyle Turzak, Cody Dempster. Back in 5th, we'll be Colin Allman, Nim Cross in 6th. They will bump up a little bit on the outside lane, so Cross will start 4th, but Tracy Petter, Eric Tracy, Rick Rube, and Matt Rolfe were your top 10 on the grid. Starting from 11th, it'll be Kieran Church alongside Josh Cottle, Josh Parrish alongside Brian Tedeschi. They're in row number 7. Back in row number 8, Spencer Dickinson alongside Chris Shepard. And to complete your top 20, Kendall Tucker, Steele Langford, Riley Stenjum, and Cameron Hamilton. Back in 21st, Kyle Souza alongside Daniel Pope. Then it'll be a bunch of the Black Magic Performance cars, Jacob Harberts, Blake Thronberg, and Alex McCullum. Then you get Mitch Drunowski back in 26th. 27th will go to Aaron Johnson. 28th, Sam Roush, then Chris Horton, and Dallas Pataska. Restart zone coming up. Darrell Hamlin in control now of segment number 3. Green flag, and Hamlin was left stumbling across the line. Cody Dempster wins the race at turn 1. Spinning and crashing in the back, Chris Shepard turned around in turn number 4. And keep in mind, we will still have a driver of the day vote here shortly. If I can get the replay to queue up right. I would say somewhere around lap 75 of this segment, we'll start to hone in on that driver of the day vote. But let's see what happened here to Chris Shepard on the start of segment number 3. Racing with Rick Rube on the inside. Josh Parrish down low, and Shepard just lost it. Thankfully, I think everybody got by okay. From high above, look at this. Just on his own. Lost control. Hamilton, Pope go by, and they check up down low. So I think everybody missed that, thankfully. That's good. As one car hits the pit lane, that'll be Nim Cross going to the pits. No pit service for the 07. I think he's just trying to go to the rear of the field. So mission accomplished if that was the goal, as Cody Dempster will lead us back onto the front straightaway, and I believe we'll be choosing this time Kyle Turzak. You know, I've kind of written him out, but I guess he's not technically out of it. I suppose if Alex McCollum had a bad run here in segment 3, Terzak could be back in. But here we go. Restart zone coming up. And we'll go back at it. 95 laps to go in this Kern Winter Classic. Whoa, up the racetrack. That was Tracy Petter in the 79, and we're crashing Rick Rube around on the front straightaway. Trouble for the Islander in number 81. See him here kind of mid-pack, still Langford on the outside. And out of turn number 4, gets a tap maybe from behind. Yeah, Kendall Tucker got into him. And you saw there briefly, Tracy Petter was up the racetrack. I don't know what just happened to him. Let's find out. Tracy Petter, turn 3. Was there any contact? No, just loose. He did get the wall briefly. Well, that could have been disaster for the 79. So here's the onboard for Petter. Loose, loose, loose. And he hangs on. So we'll have a go at things again here. Still 90 laps to go in this segment. Plenty of racing. And yeah, that was a really big catch there by Tracy Petter. I think these guys are trying to figure some things out because we would have gone 1 to green there. Let's hope we get the 1 to green call this time, as 10 laps will be complete. Cody Dempster out ahead. And Dempster will choose the inside. Kyle Terzak will choose the outside. He'll restart back on the front row. Terzak has got to be picture perfect from here, frankly. I mean, absolutely picture perfect. He needs to win. He needs to lead every... Well, he doesn't have to lead every lap, but I guess he needs to win this segment to have any chance. Even then, I don't think it's going to happen. But here we go. Restart zone coming up. Alex McCollum back in 20th for reference. Green flag on the way. It's Dempster. It's Terzak. Dempster gets jacked up, and they're crashing. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my... Oh, boy. It's still a parking lot on the front straightaway. Leaders are coming around. The track is still blocked. Steele Langford is junked. And that's just one of them. Well, we thought segment number 3 might be a little better. This was a situation for sure. Let me find the right moment here to get back to the restart on the replay. Check this out. Dempster waited a long time. I mean, this is going to go a couple of different ways. So So Cody Dempster has every prerogative to wait as long as he wants. But then when the green flag is out, everybody's got to go. So I guess my question, you know, just watching this, being an outside viewer in this, just like you guys, they were in the back of him. So Barney's flag will start waving. If you're on iRacing, you know, this is common to you, as one car did go over for a moment. You know, Barney's flag is going to start waving green. He's holding the green out. This is to signify we're coming to the restart. Get back to the right spot here. We're coming to the restart, When he starts waving it is when the sim considers it green. So he gets jacked up before the sim is throwing the green. So he's got every prerogative to wait. If he slowed down, that's different. But he's got every prerogative to wait here, and these guys just get in the back of him. I mean, this is classic restart games just gone terribly wrong, but he's got the right as the leader to wait, and these guys need to not be in his bumper. Simply put, it's a bunch of these guys trying to game the restart, the leader included. You know, Dempster's trying to game the restart for his own benefit. It's not even worth trying to figure out who all was in that. Just know that everybody behind fifth pretty much was in it. Green flag. Alex McCullum, addict to basement into turn 3. He's going to Mitch Drunowski. I know Drunowski was in that crash. McCullum might not have been. Drunowski just cut him a break. Boy, if Mitch had turned down, that would have been on Alex for sure. And Alex would have gone to the rear. Crashing, Matt Rolfe. Where's Alex going to go? He's in this one. Not that bad. Matt Rolfe involved pretty heavily. And we'll get right to replay on this. Matt Rolfe on the 0. He's going to have contact from behind. Parrish got into Petter, and they just wadded up out of turn 4. Rolfe's got to be annoyed with this. Spencer Dickinson with a big play in it. I mean, just nowhere for the 6 car to go. Or anybody, really, in all of this. I think Jacob Harberts, I saw, was part of it, or did he get through? I think Harberts mostly got through. Dickinson, though, did not. And so let's see McCullum through this. Let's double check, because I said that he was good, but is he? So here's Alex McCullum. Oh, he actually took a really big blow to the right side. We couldn't tell that from the onboard initially. Oh, boy. Oh, yeah, he's got some damage. So McCullum will stay out. I think he's kind of got to at this point. But a lot of these guys are on the pit lane. Pit lane is getting fuller by the caution. Wow. I honestly, I can't, I don't think I can recall a SARA Super Series or National Tour race with this many cautions. I don't know what the total was in segment 1. I think we decided the segment 2 total was 6. We're already at 4 here in segment 3. We're at least at like 13. And that just is not normal for these drivers. Well, here we go. We're about to send them back green flag. We're somewhere around 12 or 13 cautions. Regardless, these guys, they got to have cars to make it to the end. Green flag back out here at Kern. Let's try this again. Spencer Dickinson being removed from the front of the field as he's got no front bumper. He might not know that he had no front bumper. As, there we go, Josh Cottle at the racetrack. He's sliding back. Dempster back to second. And Jacob Harberts fills the gap for third. For the top spot, Cody Dempster, he's not done. Cody wasn't around much in segment 1, or I don't even recall him much in segment 2, but man, segment 3 has given the 24 car an opportunity to get back to the front. I think he was kind of mid, like top 10-ish, if I recall. I guess I can look at the spreadsheet and confirm. So yeah, he was 12th in segment 1, 22nd though in segment 2, and a caution's out. We are stopping again. Tracy Petter in trouble for what has got to be the 4th or 5th time tonight. Not necessarily of his own doing, as he's also got a 16 decal there on the C-pillar. This has been a rough night for a lot of drivers. A night that many will want to forget. Here's Tracy Petter down to turn number 1, following Blake Thrumberg into the corner. They stack up ahead. Josh Parrish just left with nowhere to go. And that turns the 22nd place driver around. For Parrish in car 55, this was the scene. And he has since called it a day. He is headed out of Kern. So a caution again, probably going to work against the 15 if I had to guess. And Alex McCullum has gone to the pit lane, so this is what Terzak needs. And frankly, everybody else. I don't think Alex is going to roll over and let this take him out, though. I'd imagine even if he gives one lap up to get repairs done, yeah, he's not going to. He's going to try to stay in this. So Alex isn't done, but boy is he injured. As we enter the golden hour here in Southern California. You know, I mentioned at the top of the show, Bakersfield, California just isn't where I would expect a top-tier short-track racing facility to be. You know, I lived not far from Bakersfield in a little town in the Owens Valley, and you know, it's certainly a bit of a different area up where I was, up US 395. Smaller town, I mean a town of only a few hundred. But Bakersfield, sure, it's a bigger area. I'd imagine that land, though, is probably still swallowed up by Los Angeles Department of Water and Power, just like it was up in the valley where I was, and probably even up the Central Valley up near Fresno. You know, every open piece of land that LA could get back in the 1910s and 1920s, they got for water rights. So to have a racetrack thriving 100 years later is just a surprise to me. As a former Californian, man, and this place is so cool. It deserves some bigger tour dates. I'd love to see trucks here. Here we go, green flag on the way once again. Cody Dempster with a big restart. Harberts fills it down low. Dempster up the racetrack. Oh, no! Dempster and Terzak crashing across the line. Oh boy. Oh boy. What happened here? This is gonna be... This is gonna be the crash that everybody feels like they're right about. And everybody's gonna have a slightly different opinion. Cody got him a little deep. Kyle wasn't gonna give him room. I'll tell you what, I'm not even gonna break down necessarily what happened from here, from right here on to the wall. That's that's between the drivers and whatever's above, right? But to lead into that, you know, if we go back earlier in the corner, so this is down to turn 3. So into the corner, Cody got a little deep. So it's, you know, if he had stayed down along the white line, this probably doesn't happen. At the same time, if Kyle cuts him a break with only 30 on the board out of a 100-lap segment, they don't both go to the wall. And I think it's just a matter of mentality, I feel like. You know, I see this across sim racing a lot. I get to watch a lot of sim races, and I'm very lucky to do so. But the overall mentality as of late has been, I'm never going to give an inch. If Kyle lifts there, checks the wheel to the right slightly, if Cody just doesn't go quite so deep, you know, this doesn't happen. And it's self-preservation for both sides. I would say more so for Kyle's side. You know, Cody just made a small error to get in a little deep, and that happens. But you know what? Tattoo's on a great point. I mentioned on the last caution, I would love to see trucks here, and I would love to see trucks come here to Kern. I think it'd be a really cool West Coast date that is still, you know, short track oriented, short track associated there. And I mean, it is a true short track, a half mile. I do think it would require safer barriers. I think we have seen the mold broken slightly as we've got to single file restarts. How about that? I do think it would break the mold slightly, just like North Wilkesboro. I think we've seen the standards be rewritten slightly, but here we go. Green flag back in the air. And the single file seems to have at least helped for now. These cautions have also helped Alex McCullum get more repairs and get back in the race. He is back in the top 10 as Pope is in the wall. McCullum just gets down to the inside. Cottle and Johnson, I thought, were making contact for a moment, but they're okay. Pope has dropped all the way from 9th to 16th, though. And Jacob Harberts is leading suddenly here on lap 41 of 100 here in segment number 3. Josh Cottle fastest that lap as he chases down the number 80. We are truly in golden hour. Boy, it is a very golden scene here at the virtual Kevin Harvick's Kern Raceway. This is, I would say it looks like it's out of a video game, but I guess it is. Kyle Souza, Sam Roush, Riley Stengham, and Eric Johnson's pulling off. He is slow on the inside. He's got damage, I think. What has happened to driver 78? He was top 5. Yeah, he got passed up by Dallas Pataska just moments ago for 4th. And then just, let's see, this is 1 lap, and then the next lap he just brings it down to the pit lane. Got loose there. He just brings it down. He just decided he was done. Hate to see that for Aaron Johnson. We've got a race picking up for the lead. We're approaching the halfway mark here in segment number 3, which will be lap 200 of the night as a whole, with 50 to go once we get there. Here we go, halfway lap. Josh Cottle on the back bumper of Jacob Harberts. You know, for a year or so, it's been a lot of Alex McCullum versus Cole Cabry in this series, in the National Tour and the Super Series. And as we hit halfway here in this segment, you know, McCullum's gone over to Black Magic, and I feel like Harberts has become the number 2. And for a little bit, it feels like Cabry's been the number 1 at the shop, and Cottle's been the number 2 at the shop. And now I feel like these two each have a chance to shine. They have each had race-winning potential. They've each won some races. But more often than not, it's either Alex or Cole ahead. And with neither of them up at the front tonight in this segment, at the very least. I mean, Alex, of course, won the previous 2 segments, but Cole's not here. Regardless, they have a chance to get to the front and show what they're made of right now. And I think that's pretty cool. A little bit of tire slide there on the 13 of Josh Cottle. He's keeping the pressure on Jacob Harberts, and really could strike any time, but I think we might see Josh stay a little more patient. Since we saw that single file restart, we might start to see these guys calm down. I think these guys have kind of realized, all right, we've gotten way out of hand here. Let's calm it down. Get back to basics as Riley Stenjum goes to the inside here of Chris Shepard. Shepard is going to have a pretty solid night at the end of this thing if he stays up around where he is now. And he's, even if he loses this spot to Stenjum, he'll be 5th. And he already has a score of just, let's see, just 30. So that'd be a total of 35. And with the way this is going to go for a lot of these guys, I think that's going to be a decent score. Top spot getting interesting once again. Cottle actually starting to fall back, and that's what's making it interesting. Some more room growing between these two as we approach 40 laps to go. And this race enters its latter stages. There is some traffic up the road for these guys in the form of Rick Rube, Brian Tedeschi, Kieran Church, and even Eric Tracy. Eric Tracy is 2 laps down in the 20th spot. The rest of these guys are on the lead lap. Even Alex McCullum could become lap traffic by the end of this, though. He's going to pick up... Oh, he's going to the pit lane. He might be done. Is he overheating, maybe? This is a big blow to Alex McCullum. Don't tell me he's done. He's done. That is really, really big in the grand scheme of things. He's going to pick up a best of maybe 20 here. That's going to give him a score of 22. That's going to put him behind. Well, so if Nat'l wins, Nat'l could tie Alex McCullum by winning this segment. Harbert certainly is in a position to win this now. And maybe that was some of the decision for Alex is, you know, Harbert's in a great spot. Harbert has picked up 2 third places in segments 1 and 2. He's on the road certainly to a top 3 here, if not the win in this segment. Really, the only cars that could touch the 80 now is really the 77 and the 10. The 33 is out. That's Langford. The 00 of Tucker. Trying to find him on my scoring sheet. He is 19th and out of the race. He just pulled off, it looks like. Rick Rube has also pulled off. So this is definitely Harbert's race now to lose. And Nat'l, boy, Josh's result in segment 2 of 14th is not going to help him at all. That's what put him so far behind. He had 7th in segment 1. He could have worked with that. But if this runs green, there's not much Josh can do. I think Josh needs a caution and he needs the 80 to get stacked up in some way, shape, or form. But I just don't know if that's going to happen at this point in time. So Harbert's starting to pull away a little bit from Nat'l. We'll watch on from the fan cam. I think it's time, though, we can probably go ahead and do driver of the day. And this is going to be a little bit hard to track. I want to say Alex McCullum, but he's just pulled off with all that damage. I can't even say Kyle Terzak because of how segment 2 and 3 went for him. I think I have to start with Jacob Harberts. I don't think there's really any other way to go. So Jacob Harberts certainly will be on the pole tonight for the North American Racing League Driver of the Day. And just in segment 3 here, he's gone from 23rd back up to the lead. He's led over 40 laps. I think looking over at scoring, which I know you guys are not able to see the same as I, Riley Stengham has scored 12 points so far. A 5th in segment 1, a 7th in segment 2. He's now 4th here in segment 3. And I will give him a nod here. He's up from 19th to 4th, just with this invert alone in segment 3. Riley Stengham grabs a Driver of the Day nomination for sure. Cameron Hamilton has kind of slipped out of contention here. Hamilton's down at 17th. He's actually now out of the race, 9 laps down. I think Blake Thronberg is a worthy contender. We talked about for segment 2. He went 2nd in segment 2. Started 24th. He's currently 6th. He's just kind of turned things around tonight, I feel like. I don't know where he's going to finish necessarily in the standings, but hey, tonight at least has been a better night for Blake Thronberg, and that, I think, is a big deal for him. And boy, I don't really know who to slot in here. You know what? I know exactly what I'm going to put in for the 4th slot in Driver of the Day, Nim Cross. Nim is going to pick up some spots, certainly, in this competition tonight, by being 10th currently, with 20 laps to go, just about. So Nim Cross will grab himself a nomination for Driver of the Day. And that vote will go live over on YouTube right now. You can make your selection for the North American Racing League Driver of the Day. Four drivers up for vote. Jacob Harberts, Riley Stenjum, Blake Thronberg, and Nim Cross are the drivers on that poll. And again, you know, my reasoning for Harberts, clearly, I mean, he's got this thing in the bag if it runs this way. Green to the end. For Stenjum, he has just been really consistent in the top 10, 4th, I think 5th, 7th, and 4th now here in segment 3. So that's just really consistent. He might take 2nd or 3rd here when the points are tallied up. Petter's underneath him here, so that might set him back 1 position. But then Thronberg has also been pretty solid. He's had a lot of bad luck this year in general, but he's turning it around here tonight. And then Nim Cross to be 10th. Currently, you know, he went to the pit lane earlier. I think trust in Nim might be a new motto going forward, because that choice to go to the pits clearly was a good one for Nim. You know what I'm wondering here? This place has lights. I'm surprised they're not on yet. You can see the light poles around the racetrack. I'm surprised we don't have lights on yet here at Kevin Harvick's Kern Raceway to light up the track, because it has gotten awfully dark in the shaded portions of the speedway. So coming down to 10 laps to go here soon. Josh Cottle putting chase to Jacob Harberts. Of course, by the score, I've kind of gone over it. Harberts kind of has this in the bag unless there's a really drastic change to his position. But that doesn't mean he's going to win this thing necessarily. Jacob Harberts still has to defend over Josh Cottle, one of the better drivers certainly in this series. And just for bragging rights of winning this segment, I think there's certainly reason for Cottle to get up on the wheel here and try to put the 80 car behind him. There's a heck of a battle happening back here for the lucky dog position between Steven Oberstadt and Sam Roush. And, you know, anything can still happen. We can still have a caution. I don't think we're going to at this point in time. I think these guys have been cautioned out for the night and might be heavily chastised if we had another, but never say never, I suppose. And Tracy Petter is still working here on Riley Stenjum. This is a battle for the 4th position on the racetrack currently. Petter is going to be, let's see, Tracy didn't have a great result in segment 2, so he has 29 coming into this. This would add 5, so 34. I'm just not entirely sure how that's going to work out. I mean, it's going to move him up, certainly ahead of guys like Tedeschi, Terzak, Pope, Dickinson, and likely Langford and Hamilton. I don't think he'll do much better, though, than like 6th, if I had to guess, in the overall score. So these two are the best battle on the racetrack as we near 5 laps to go. Tracy Petter, Riley Stenjum side by side, turn number 3. And they've got Dallas Pataska just ahead. That is 4th position. So these guys could be staring at 3rd place here very shortly on their black box. I think Petter might actually benefit from letting Stenjum run his race right here. and try to get up to Pataska and make it a three-way fight. The battle ahead, don't worry, you're not missing anything between Harberts and Cottle. They are separated by about a half a second. This is the best fight on the racetrack currently. Riley Stenjum, there we go, lights are kicking on. Just as Riley Stenjum gets to the outside here of Dallas Pataska, this is for third position. Battle off the corner. And we're going to have just a couple of laps to go. Jacob Harberts officially will take 2 to go here at Kevin Harvick's Kern Raceway. And all he's got to do now is manage this final lap. He can just about coast. But he's got to hit the gas one more time. Jacob Harberts leading the way onto the final lap as Riley Stenjum takes over the third spot. Tracy Petter going for fourth on the outside of Pataska. But up ahead, it is all Jacob Harberts out of the final corner. And to the stripe, Jacob Harberts will win stage or segment number 3 and win the Nautical Marine Kern Winter Classic unofficially as of now. We'll give a moment for Matt Rolfe to divvy up the scores. But unofficially, I think it's certainly going to be Jacob Harberts on top. Now, it does seem like he's not going to go ahead and celebrate this evening. But Jacob Harberts, I do believe, will be your winner tonight. Not only in this segment, he happened to be the first car across the stripe here in segment number 3, but I believe he is going to be tonight's race winner. And Blake Thronberg going to do some celebration along with his teammate. Jacob Harberts, though, calmly parks it and will walk away from this event, I do believe, as tonight's race winner for the Kern Winter Classics. We'll go ahead, we'll go over the unofficial race results here from the segment, but bear in mind, this is only a snapshot of the night. So quickly, I think we'll go a little faster than we typically would. So Harberts, of course, with the win here in the segment, he should get the night as a whole. He'll do that over Josh Cottle in the second spot, Riley Stenjum third. And scores are being tabulated currently. Matt Rolfe is working that out in the background to make sure we get the top 2 drivers from the overall result here in the race. And also tonight's champion, Alex McCollum. But you see where everybody finishes there in the top 10. Shepard, I think, is a highlight. Chris Shepard, I think, is going to surprise some people in the overall result here. 7th place. Nim Cross also. Really, the whole back 4 of this top 10, Shepard, Pope, Souza, and Cross, I think are all going to surprise people in the end result of this one. Dickinson just hangs on to the lead lap. Oberstadt, Roush, Church, and Tedeschi 1 lap down. Payne from there on back. We really only had 15 cars come to the end. Tracy, Hamilton, Rube, Tucker, McCollum all out early along with all of these guys. And Chris Horton did not even make the green flag here in segment number 3. He pulled the trailer out before the segment began. So Jacob Harberts, unofficially, unless I believe, yes, the score is showing Jacob Harberts on top. I kind of figured it would be that way, Jacob. Well, let me ask you, back in segment 1, you ran third to Alex and Kyle ahead of you. Did you think that you'd be in this position and they'd be so far off of you by the score?
Well, I knew with the second and third segments that anything was possible. With the 25 car inverts, it didn't come down to just raw speed like the first segment. Once you get those inverts, it's luck and how well you can actually get through the field and pass people. But really a whole lot of luck, especially for me, that third segment. It seems like all this entire week I've been picking the worst, when it comes to choose cones or getting stuck on the top or bottom. It's like I always end up in the worst spot, but then everything completely flipped in that last segment. Everything just worked out perfect. I gained tons of spots early on in the race from cautions and staying clean from those, and it just all worked out in my favor.
And you mentioned the cautions and staying clean in those, and I think this is going to be a controversial race for a couple of weeks, so it's probably good that we have the holidays off. What did you see out there? I mean, this was definitely a misstep from what we typically see in these SARA races, especially the National Tour. I think we had single-digit cautions the last 3 races combined. So this is definitely a detour from that. And how did you get through all of those crashes?
Well, the second one, I didn't get out completely unscathed. I definitely had some damage. I even made a couple trips down pit road to get what I could fixed, but it wasn't bad enough. It just kind of messed up the front end toe and made the car tight, but it was still good enough for me to work with because I was able to finish third in that one. It wasn't third on pace, I don't think, but we made it work. So that was pretty much what the second and third segments were all about, was just making it work with what you had.
Well, Jacob, I know there's a lot that we could talk about this evening, but when it's all boiled down, you'll be the winner here in this format. Is it a pass or fail for you? You know, what would you tweak?
Well, it has its pros and cons. I was definitely worried that if it was just a 250 lap race straight up, that it might have been a little bit on the boring side. It was definitely difficult to pass with the second groove coming in so quickly and just being so dominant the whole night. So, I mean, it was fun. I think it was definitely worth a try. I think just what really caught me off guard in the second segment was just I don't even think it was necessarily a speed difference, but more so just getting up to speed difference, if that makes sense. When you invert 25 cars, you typically just have a little bit less experienced drivers up front, and they don't get up to speed on restarts as quickly as the guys who are inverted back to 25th do. And when you have that throughout the whole field, it just creates a bunch of checkups. And even when I was back in the 20s, I was checking up, but it sometimes wasn't enough, even though I felt like I was really backing it down, and just from a combination of different things all causing that. So that's the big thing, is people, they want to get spots while they can. With it being hard to pass, you got to take your opportunities when you can, but sometimes it happens in racing. People become a little bit too opportunistic, and it just doesn't work out.
Well, hey, we have some time off for the holidays. Sit back, hopefully enjoy some time away from the sim, maybe. I'm sure you guys are still running official races throughout, but enjoy some time, hopefully, away from league racing at least, and we'll see you in 2026.
Thank you.
That's Jacob Harberts with a big night here at Kevin Harvick's Kern Raceway. We'll move on down to Josh Cottle, who ends up taking second here in segment 3. And Josh, you end up 1 marker back of Alex in the overall score tonight, so you're just... you're sniffing the step of third place in the podium. Is there anything more you could have done at any point in this race tonight?
I don't know, man. All I can say is we had a very fast car, but the driver was definitely a hack in the first race. I killed like 2 people by accident. That really set me back, and then I killed a car in the second heat way too quick. I just didn't see Colin spinning at the bottom. There was a car right between us, and I full throttled him. So driver was definitely hacking it up tonight, but we had a very fast car, man.
And definitely, I think the car was fast. You showed some speed, and it felt like, when Cole, I think, kind of stepped aside for the fall and winter to handle some of his other driving duties off the sim, it felt like you were able to kind of step up and kind of become the number 1 at the shop and Cottle Chassis. I think you showed that again this evening, because while, yes, maybe the beginning of the race was a little wishy-washy, you got back up there later on. So how do you take this and build on this and prop everybody up at the shop and Cottle Chassis going into 2026 and the rest of the Super Series season?
And it just shows the momentum we have. We've been having some good race sets. Everybody's been wanting to take a break for a while, so I've been stepping up and both building the setups and just trying to drive the best I can. As you can tell, I need more experience because tonight was rough. It didn't go as clean for me as the Thanksgiving Classic did, but if anything, it showed our cars had great pace. I don't think I would be able to pass Harberts. I just needed the groove to move around a little bit more than it did, but congrats to him on the win, and congrats to Alex on the championship. It was fun racing. Trying the new dynamic was, interesting, but I wish it would have moved back down to the bottom because that's where my car shined all night.
Well, Josh, it's good to talk to you. It's been a couple of weeks at the very least, and I'm glad that through all of the mess of tonight, you were able to get up there to the front and have a good result. Hopefully, we're talking to you again when 2026 kicks off.
Yes, sir. I just want to thank you for doing the broadcast, man. This was an interesting race, being the first one back on the dynamic, but it was fun still, regardless. I just wish we didn't have as many cautions as we did. Thank you to the Cobble Chassis and the shop, of course, for the incredible setups we keep getting. We need to work on Q speed a little bit, but our race speed is right there. Thank you to Lucky Ducks Motorsports, RJ Williams Management, Fusion One Graphics for the beautiful scheme. Not sure if I'm forgetting anybody else, but I also want to say prayers to everybody involved in the plane crash today. That is absolutely heartbreaking. I know you were talking about it in Spike's Discord. Just prayers to everybody that hurts to see, and yeah.
Absolutely, some of the most unfortunate racing news that we've had in a long time. Josh, on a better note, again, congratulations on the result tonight. I know it's not quite on the podium, but hey, second place in the segment at least, and certainly a lot to hang your hat on and go off into the end of 2025 with some momentum. Hopefully we're talking to you again soon.
Thank you. See you in 2 weeks, actually.
Yes, sir. Lanier is coming up. That's Josh Cottle this evening with a second place result in the segment, fourth in this evening's overall result. And without further ado, it's time for our champion. It was an early exit in segment number 3 and for the race tonight, Alex, but you can leave it all behind you and walk into 2026 with a championship on your back here in the National Tour. Looking back on these 9 races, obviously tonight was a slight detour for everybody, but it was a season certainly of Alex McCollum, at least through those opening 8 races coming into tonight. What clicked so well for you across the 2 cars, all the different racetracks, the formats, everything? What about it clicked so well for you?
I don't know if anything clicked. It's just I'd say consistency was key this season. I mean, last year I just had a really good year and just felt like I just ran up front, 90%, everything went my way. So last year was a little bit more of a, I wouldn't say a breeze, but it was more of a relief. But this year I kind of had to work for a little bit throughout mid-season with a couple bad races with Sobo and having that mishap at Langley and a couple unfortunate races. But I mean, these long races with the series and with the 250, 300 lap races, it's all about consistency. You ain't gonna win it on lap 1, lap 5. I mean, you got to be there at lap 250 every week.
And now our sights can kind of settle down onto the Super Series, moving into 2026. The schedule on the screen currently, I can bring it up for you if you want, but next up Lanier, a couple of mystery rounds at the beginning in January. Then we at least have a couple more scheduled races at New Smyrna, Southern National, with a mystery round in between. From the setup side and the team side, how big of a wrench is it to have 3 mystery rounds still on the board?
I think it's pretty good for us. I mean, because we have such a really good group to work with. So I feel like our notebook's really solid right now. It's just the matter if we're going to hit it that night or not. So I think our next race is January with Lanier. So I think we're going to be really good. I mean, I won that race solo last year, and then Jacob's guy finished second. So I think if we combine our notebook, we'll be really solid there. So not too worried about Lanier, but still going to have to bring our A game. But Mystery Nights is just going to be hit or miss. I mean, you're either going to hit it really well or you're just going to miss it. So we'll see.
And I got to ask, I mistakenly called it the Thanksgiving Classic. That, of course, is Southern National. But I'm sure we're at Turkey Derby this year at Wall Stadium. How'd that go for you?
I actually didn't go this year. I was debating if I wanted to go up and watch and help a couple of our guys out, but unfortunately my schedule just didn't work out enough for me to go up there. So one of our guys actually won, so that was pretty cool. I mean, I won it in 22 and 23, and then one of our guys won it in 24 and 25. So we're doing pretty good over there. So we're gonna try to get our program back and dialed down here in North Carolina.
I was going to ask, what's next, I guess, for you on the real side of things, away from the sim, of course, with the legend car and everything. Where do we see Alex McCullum next, and how can somebody watching tonight follow you in your journey making a career out of racing?
Yeah, right now my schedule for I want to try and run the Roval, the first Roval race with the legend car. They just announced we're racing the Roval, so I think that's gonna be pretty sweet. So if my timing and schedule and everything works out, that's my plan to run the first race of Winter Heat at the Roval. But mainly my sights are on Florida, so I'm gonna maybe miss a race or two in Super Series, but so I'm not too worried about points right now. So I kind of want to just focus on real life, get that program back rolling. So yeah, next year should be fun. I'm gonna do a lot of dirt racing again. Did a little bit of this year, so I kind of want to just explore more next year.
Well, Alex, we'll certainly miss you in whatever Super Series and National Tour races you miss next year, but best of luck in every facet of racing. And when you make the big time, don't forget us. Otherwise, congratulations on the championship here in 2025, and hopefully we're talking to you again soon.
Thank you, and thank you guys for broadcasting. It's always pretty cool to go back and watch these races. Either I'm in some mess or we're running up front, so it's always good to go back and watch these races over and study and work on our stuff a little bit. And then really appreciate Matt for putting these events on. I know our racing can be a little hectic at sometimes, and he puts a lot of work into his league, so I really appreciate him doing all of this. So the National Tour is pretty cool. Hopefully he changes it up next year. I know a couple guys want to change it up, like what modifieds, ARCA, add some late model supers, just change it up, and hopefully he does that and changes it up. It'd be pretty cool.
Definitely big things, I think, on the way for 2026. Alex, once again, congratulations, and hopefully we're talking to you again soon in 2026. Until then, of course, we have a kind of empty slate coming up for us here at Pit Stop TV. The next couple of weeks are a little calmer as we get ready for the new year. We are back in action next with the Las Vegas Motor Speedway for the BRB Sundance Pro Series. And that, of course, will be a continuation of their ongoing season. They have a break here for the holidays, just like the Super Series that's off until January 8th at Lanier. That'll be a double feature that night with North American Racing League opening up their 9th season of GT3 action. And now that interviews are over, we can go ahead and crown a driver of the day. That is going to be none other. I'm glad I nominated him now, but none other than Nim Cross in that 07, getting driver of the day honors here tonight at the Kevin Harvick's Kern Raceway. So a big props to Nim Cross, tonight's North American Racing League driver of the day in the final round of 2025. Congratulations, of course, to Nim and everybody who's done well this evening, and better luck next time for the rest. I know it was a rough night out there. I'll go through the results verbally, at least briefly, or at least some highlights of them. Harberts wins this thing overall. He will officially win it. Riley Stengham will take second. Alex McCullum third. Josh Cottle will end up fourth in all of this, just 1 point behind Alex McCullum. It's Blake Thronberg with the top five. Cameron Hamilton, Daniel Pope, and Tracy Petter just behind. Pope and Petter do tie for seventh. I theorize Petter might get to sixth. He was a couple of spots shy. Dickinson will take a top 10 with a ninth place. And Chris Shepard, I had told you he would surprise. He ends up 10th when it's all said and done, tied with Kendall Tucker at 37 points total. From there on back, Brian Tedeschi takes 12th. Steele Langford 13th. Then Kyle Souza, Kyle Terzak 14th and 15th. Nim Cross ends up 16th. Dallas Pataska 17th. Josh Parrish 18th. Down to Mitch Drunowski and Cody Dempster in the top 20. Kieran Church, Matt Rolfe, Steven Oberstadt, Eric Tracy, Rick Rube, Colin Allman through 26. The back four are Sam Roush, Chris Horton, Daryl Hamlin, and Aaron Johnson. Thanks so much for tuning in this evening. It's been a pleasure as always. Big thank you to those who make these broadcasts possible. Those, of course, being Cody Williams Design, Crow Sim Shots, Impel Motorsports, Nautical Marine, Only Short Tracks, Privateer Race Products, RJW21 Management, SARA Templates, SimRatMarket.com, The Association, Thronberg Construction, Trackside Threads, and Velocity Motorsports. A big thank you to our partners as well. As we close on 2025 with some of these partners, Whiplash, SimCams, ATVOs, CC's Business, Cody Williams Design, Lucky Performance, and the North American Racing League. Thank you so much to everybody for a great 2025. For now, this is the last time you'll hear my voice live in this calendar year. We look forward to a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays and a Happy New Year as we get ready and gear up for 2026. Thanks so much for being a part of our year here at Pit Stop TV. We will catch you all next time on the far side. Yes, next year in 2026. Hopefully, we see you soon.